So you've heard of the incident in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. But did you ever hear about Valiant Thorr? So in 1957, a UFO landed in Virginia. This was witnessed by a police officer. Now, the being that emerged from the UFO looked like a regular human, like a tall white male. And he asked to be taken to President Eisenhower. So what did he really say? Take me to your leader. So the police officer did take him to the Pentagon, where he met with President Eisenhower, the Secretary of Defense, and other chiefs of staff. After speaking to Eisenhower, he was given 3 years of VIP status in the Pentagon. He conducted numerous meetings with high officials in the United States government. He was here to voice concerns over humanity's lust for nuclear power. So he was asked many questions by Eisenhower. One of the questions was, "Where are you from?" Now, he said that he came from what the Bible called the morning and the evening star. And Eisenhower asked, "Venus?" And he said yes. Of course, Eisenhower asked him for proof. And he said, "Well, what constitutes as proof?" Of course, we had no way to know what kind of proof would he be able to provide for us. Now, supposedly the only difference between him and a regular human was that he had 6 fingers and 6 toes, and his heart was larger than a regular human's, and so was his lung capacity. And he claimed to have an IQ of 1200. He also spoke 100 languages. Shockingly enough, there are photos of him and of 2 other aliens that were from Venus. Now, at the time, Valiant Thorr said that there were already about 70 aliens that were already in our society, and we just didn't know it. He also said that he was sent by the High Council because they were concerned about us humans and our nuclear capabilities, and that we were capable of obliterating the human race. And remind you, this was 1957. What I find interesting in what they talk about Valiant Thorr is that he talked about how men were getting further away from God. And he talked about Jesus Christ, which is very interesting because a lot of people will say, how do you believe in aliens if you believe in God or Jesus Christ? How can you believe in both? So that's very interesting. Now, the interviewer who did ask Valiant Thorr questions, if you could ask an alien anything, he was asking him about God and Jesus and if they're real. And Valiant Thorr said they were real. The interviewer asked him, is there life on other planets? He said yes. There is life in other planets, and the universe is so broad that there's universes and galaxies further than we can imagine. The interviewer went as far as to ask him a question like, what would you do if our military were not to permit you to leave? And he actually said, do you remember what happened when Jesus was in the tomb and how he was not being permitted to leave? Didn't he manifest out of the tomb? He even said, didn't the apostles lock themselves in a room and Jesus manifested himself into the room? So Val Thorr had vowed not to use any type of force against humanity, and since his ideas did not reap any results, he decided at that time that he would just go ahead and leave. Yet President Eisenhower supposedly still tried to get a gathering of all the leaders of all the nations to have one last meeting to listen to Valiant Thorr before he left back to his own planet. But he was rejected. So still, on March 16 of 1960, he went back to his ship and he took off back on his journey back to his planet. Of course, to report back that we weren't going to listen. So believe it or not, did an alien visit Earth in 1957 to try to save humanity, to try to save us and warn us, and our leaders didn't listen? We'll never know the truth. But I want you to be careful. If you want to stay safe, you best get superstitious. Peace.